Hey, this is JP with Central Idaho Men Weather. It's January 9th, 2026. Looking out at Durance, getting hammered in the last few days. Skiing's been really good out there on the south facing slopes. Beautiful boulders behind them. And if you're enjoying this broadcast, hit me up with a one-time donation, or even better, sign up for that sustaining monthly membership. All right, we are going to have periods of sun through the next couple days. Sunday's looking the sunniest, but we still are going to have clouds for most of those days. High pressure is about to dominate the region. With that, we'll have inversion setting in. I think the first major one's going to be on Sunday. And then we might have some spillover over this ridge of high pressure on Monday, Tuesday, maybe some moisture with that. Really, the long-term forecast for the next week is looking very dry, potentially getting something next Thursday. All right, so here is our satellite reel. I drew in the high pressure here that's already starting to form, and we're kind of in this north flow right now. That's why we're getting all that cooler air. But as this high pressure develops, all these clouds are kind of going to just do this over the top of the ridge. So we might have some spillover where it kind of falls below that pink line again, but really no moisture. I'm going to take a little bit of a deep dive into looking at some SNOTEL sites and see if I can move this actually a little bit here. So some people have been kind of referencing that this is very similar to the 2016-2017 year where we had pretty crazy amounts of snow. You can see that in the green line here. This is what station? I'm on Vienna, so I'm going to start north and move south through a couple different stations. So you can see we had a pretty incredible year on 2016, 2017. I didn't do a deep enough dive into the avalanche history there, but we're just looking at SNOTEL site information now, the SWE. So if you melted down that snow we got into water. The black line is our current year. So we started out pretty slow, but still kind of in average. This green band here is average. And then right around, we got a small bump on December 5th, and then our big bump in the December 15th to kind of current state right here. Huge bump right there. And it does mimic the 2017 year. When you're looking at SNOTEL sites, it actually marks the year that the water year finishes, which is September 30th. So this is finishing on September 30th, 2017. So 2016-17 year. So yeah, we're looking pretty good, but we're about to go into a drought, which actually looks like this mimics quite a bit. Where it flat lines there is when we have high pressure and a drought sets in. Looking at Galena Summit. So we had a little bit more moisture than the 2017 year. And just looking at this water table year, I'm imagining this was actually a pretty good year for stability. Generally, when you have less snow at the beginning of the year and then it works its way through the winter months, it doesn't have time for those facets to develop. So it might have been a pretty good year. I'd have to look back on that. So you can see it doesn't follow it as exactly as Vienna, but we are on that trend where it's climbing. And then we kind of had a bump here, not as much of a flat line as I think we're about to get. We'll see. It might be pretty similar. So yeah, it is looking like a very similar year now that I'm kind of looking at the data a little bit closer to 2017 or 2016, 2017. This last one I pulled up just because it's kind of the winner right now, or a little bit out of the ordinary, is the Lost Wood Divide out in Trail Creek, at the summit of Trail Creek. And that's just been pumping in tons of moisture. You can see it's well above average. and then it does flatline a little bit right there. This is for the month of January, it looks like. We used to have pretty high and dry Januaries back in the day. So that's a little look at there. Now I'm going to talk about temperatures. So we started out, this is this year in November. So we started out with pretty above normal temperatures for November. So this is Galena's SNOTEL site. This is in Celsius. This line here is freezing. You can see a lot of the temperatures were above freezing. So it could have been an even greater start to the season if all that rain was falling as snow in that area. So that's why I wanted to highlight there. Whereas you look at the temperatures in 2016, the start of that year, we were probably closer to average. We were well below freezing. And then, oh, that was for December. And then looking at this year, a little bit closer in December for colder temperatures, but you can still see we were much warmer. All right, so that was a little bit of a deep dive into looking at some of the historical values of SWE from our local SNOTEL sites there. I'm going to get back into the forecast if you're still hanging with me. We're going to look at the GFS 500 millibar chart, see what that jet stream's doing, see what this high pressure is going to be doing. So you can see this ridge of high pressure is slowly starting to migrate to the east, and then we will be at the high point of it come Saturday. It'll be fully dominating our area. This closed low forms over Baja, which will kind of keep that ridge to our north. And it's just going to keep spinning out there. We might have some spillover where we get some cloud, most likely clouds, maybe a little bit of moisture Monday night into Tuesday, most likely just clouds. And then we just keep having this high pressure dominating, and it gets pretty crazy on next Wednesday with warm temperatures. Before at least this model, the GFS, starts to show moisture come in with northwest flow, which would favor the Sawtooth area more than the Wood River side. But the Euro is not showing this. I think the Euro is showing more high pressure. So this is looking pretty far out into almost a week from now. So we're getting into the future forecast, and we'll just kind of see what happens. I mean, it is looking like we're going to be above normal temperatures for this time of year for the next week. And then below normal for precip. So that's trending with what we're seeing. Big drought coming. And then it kind of continues. We kind of are a little bit closer to average for midway through January, and still below average for snowfall, and it doesn't look like the snowfall picks up until the end of the month, where we still stay above normal for temperature. So just going to continue to be a pretty warm winter out there, and maybe it looks like we're going to be in a couple weeks of a drought moving forward.